Hello, Christian sisters. This is Sister Debbie from don'tperish.com. We are here in Missouri. I'm walking on one of our roads, enjoying a beautiful, sunshiny day. It's in the 50s. That's pretty awesome for us, especially coming from Wisconsin, where it's pretty cold right now. We love coming down here in the wintertime, doing more ministry work, catching up on projects, and preparing ourselves for the mission field in the summer. Today I thought I would share with you a sad experience that we had just recently. I've said in some of our other videos that we go outside religious buildings and we stand with gospel signs hoping to find a sheep that may have wandered in there, try to explain to people the deception that's going on in there. And quite often we go to Methodist, Baptist, Lutheran. It doesn't really matter the denomination out there. We will go there because there's false man-made traditions going on. And within that, I don't know if many of you have heard about the Anabaptists. Mennonite, Amish, German Baptist, things like that. Their denominational names, they're pretty much just like the worldly system, only there's not as much carnality. They are somewhat set apart. They have a semblance of biblical truth when it comes to women, how to dress and head cover, although they still do it sinfully. We have articles on that. But anyway, what I wanted to tell you about was when we go to, I'm just going to call them the worldly churches out there because they're very worldly. They have a little bit of truth in them. And when we go there, we get a lot of pushback. We get a lot of feminism. We get all kinds of pushback, sometimes threats, all kinds of things, but that's beside the point. Feminism is what I'm going to kind of zero in on. It's kind of expected when you go to places like that because women have absolutely no clue. I didn't. I had no clue when I was a worldly woman. Okay, let me back up. I had a clue inside me. I just didn't know biblical truth. I wasn't born again. But when I did become born again, one of the first things that was put upon my heart was I knew some of that was wrong. I just didn't know what to do about it, how to do it, but I was striving, trying to learn that. And since we didn't have anybody to help us, it was a long struggle, but I kept pushing forward. Now we have all kinds of articles out there to help women. So you women who are listening to this, if you are really striving in the things of God, you will see the demeanor and the manner of a godly woman. She should be fully covering her head, fully covering her body. This means she stripped all the worldliness out from the outside. Long, loose clothing, no adornment, that's what God's word says. She should obtain a shamefaced, quieter, meeker manner. She should reverence and submit to her husband. All the godly traits that God's word talks about. Now, those of you who came from the world like I did, those can be pretty tough to do. But when you see it, you obey it, and over time, God will transform you, and you can become those qualities. Well, when we go to Mennonites and Amish, Baptist, any of the Anabaptist types, they are supposed to be taught this from the beginning, and they know these things. But what we see is they don't follow them. Let me give you a quick example, the reason why I wanted to do this video. We stood outside a Mennonite body this past weekend, and it started out calm, and then it got really heated because some of their men got really angry, got in Brother Jim's face. And anyway, there was a lot of discussion that went on, a lot of sin that was exposed to them. And toward the end, there was a gentleman there that was talking in a decent manner. So the brothers were giving him some truth. And his wife walked out, kind of stepped in between and said, "Honey, we need to go." Well, he kind of sidestepped, went around the back of her, and then kind of stepped in front of her so he could continue talking. Well, she walked away. She came back. She said, "We need to go right now." She grabbed his arm and started pulling him. And just like in Genesis 3, he hearkened to the voice of his wife. And he walked away. She turned around after Brother Jim asked him, "Are you going to allow feminism to rule you?" She turned around and she screamed, "You had your discussion." Got in the vehicle and shut the doors. That was something new for us because they claim to be Christians. They claim to be walking in the things of God. They are separated from the world somewhat, and they know these truths and these principles. But what we know there is they're another man-made religion following what Mark 7 says about vain traditions that Jesus warned us about. And many of them are dead, and we try to reach out to them. But what I wanted to share with you on that is, women, evaluate yourself. It just kind of made me think about it when I was watching that, and when I thought about it afterwards, I thought, there's so many different ways that a woman could have feminism over her husband and maybe not even realize it. I'm sure she knew. It certainly showed the evidence that there's quite a bit of that going on in her home. But let me just ask you a question, ladies. Excuse me. So, like, if your husband is doing business, talking, whatever it is, and you're out in public somewhere, or at home, really, but usually when you're somewhere, if the children are acting up, or if you don't have children, if you're just tired of being there, do you walk away from him, go sit in the car? Do you start the car? Do you hint around about going? Do you sigh? Do you do anything that might make him uncomfortable to where he has to follow your lead instead of being the leader? There's a lot of different ways that can happen. And just something simple, I just wanted to ask you out there, keep an eye on that. Make sure you don't do that. It doesn't mean your husband's always right, even if he's not a godly man. We have to be really careful that we kill that part of us on the inside and allow him to be the leader of the home, so then God can work through him in whatever way God will be working through him. Hope that's been a blessing to you. I know it's something that I've been self-reflecting on lately, and I always want to work on that. I hope you have a joyous day. God be praised.